Hello, welcome. Hello, everyone. This is for a great GitLab day, wherever you are. I'm Christos, and along with all these wonderful people here today, we're here to welcome you in the another office hour call. We have some new faces, so why don't I just open the floor for some really brief introductions, and then we can dive more into the freestyle agenda that we have for this office hour call. So I'm Christos, I'm the contributor program manager, and my role is to help you all contribute, have a rewarding experience, and yeah, contribute to the open source ecosystem and more specifically to GitLab. Open source is my passion, so yeah, I'm really happy that everyone is here towards for the same reasons. So next to my list here, I'm going through. I'm gonna call out people. If you cannot unmute, feel free to type into the chat. Since Marco is here and unface muted, and I will invite you, Marco, to introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Marco, and I started contributing to GitLab a couple of months ago, and I basically done various things from backend to front end, and yeah, I really enjoy contributing, so I keep on doing it, and that basically it.
Wanna call someone else?
I don't really know.
Anshul, we wanna go next?
Okay, Anshul typed in the chat. I guess they can't speak, but Anshul says, oh, currently in a meeting, full stack developer and love contributing to GitLab.
Oh yeah, by the way, I am no way a web developer. I almost work basically everything in 3D environment and 3D engines. So web development is not really my thing, but everyone can contribute, right?
Yeah, GitLab has a lot of things that aren't web. Like, you know, the runner, and there's a Kubernetes agent, and there's a few different projects like that aren't really web, but still fit into the GitLab ecosystem.
Yeah. Also, if there's something on GitLab that you might find useful and that's not really working how you would like it to, or maybe if it's missing some features, you can, that's why I started contributing. So that's a good reason to start to, I think.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and introduce myself since I haven't gone yet. I'm Brian, and I'm a backend engineer on the container security team. I work on container scanning mostly, but I do kind of float around in the secure area. I'm also a merge request coach, so I help out contributors with their contributions. So if you ever contribute to GitLab, I might get assigned and help you out with a merge request. Fatima, do you want to go?
Yeah, I'm Fatima. I am a developer evangelist. I'm with Christos on the community relations team. I work on managing our community forum and some of our third-party tools and just kind of engaging with the community and figuring out what they're talking about and what they'd like to hear about. I think this is the first time I made office hours because I'm on the East Coast for 2 weeks and I can finally make the time. So excited to be here and learn from both of you.
Thank you. Mehul, do you want to introduce yourself? Or
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hi.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, pretty much a similar story as to Marco. I started contributing maybe a year back to GitLab, having fun and stuff like that. And I have some MRs left over, so just need to complete them, I guess. So yeah, just hopped on in this call and pretty excited.
Perfect. Thank you. Before I have just two really small topics I would like to cover, and then we can ask maybe Brian, since they are here, a few things if they want to, or show us like last time how to contribute to GitLab. It was really nice. But why don't I share my screen really quickly? Where is it? Okay, first and most important, contribution themed months. So we started introducing the contribution themed months a few months ago. It's like 6 weeks now. And it used to be a 1 month, but now we extended it to 6 weeks because we understood that setting up your development environment, it takes some time and figuring things out. So we are organizing, like, we have 6 weeks focused on one contribution area, pretty straightforward. This time is backend. So the idea is like we're trying to have these office hour calls on a weekly basis, trying to invite GitLab engineers, backend engineers specifically, maintainers to help us, to walk us through some of their thinking on how to approach and solving specific issues, or just like giving us their insights on how to understand the code, for example, or approach some bugs in some cases. We had a really nice call the other time with Brian, and they are joining us again today, which is really nice. Thank you. And then we're working with other people to, we're gonna have more maintainers joining us. Now, in terms of like how to find issues to contribute to, on the contributing guide, there's this nice table. Some of our product groups, they have handpicked issues for everyone. We have on the main, on the second column, we have like the contributing to GitLab guide. We have the architecture and everything. On the right side, we have some issues. And from different product groups, you can explore them, identify something to work on. And if you need help, the help section here, which is either by pinking one of our MR coaches, or joining our contributors GitLab channel, or just emailing. But most of the times, the most effective one is like doing a GitLab bot help, and it's gonna notify everyone, and we're gonna come to help. That's the contribution theme months. We're also gonna have the hackathon in the mid of August, but still we're wrapping up the previous hackathon, still reviewing all the MRs. Now, another thing that came into our attention about the CI/CD minutes usage. So if you're contributing to GitLab and you started running out of CI/CD minutes, we are investigating the problem there. But if you run out of CI/CD minutes, please email contributors@gitlab.com or reach out to me directly on either GitLab or on Gitter or on anywhere that we might all be together. We're still investigating. Hopefully we're gonna fix it soon. By the time you're watching this video, this recording, the problem won't exist. Sorry for this issue is currently private. I'm gonna make it public. It includes some screenshots, so I want to make sure, I want to take everyone's approval before making this issue public. So that's it from my side, some housekeeping stuff. So yeah, if anyone has any topics would like to discuss, or any questions potentially for Brian, it would be, now is your time. They are here with us, so yeah. Otherwise, we can do like another round of picking issues, or something else, Brian, like how you're approaching, or how reviewing maybe an MR. I don't know. That might be interesting.
I might have a small question that maybe he would be, he knows an answer. And today, while we were doing our pairing session with Lee, we were trying to find a way on how to debug and set breakpoints on Sidekick jobs. Do you know a way to do that?
No, I've never tried debugging. I've never tried debugging a Sidekick job before, so that does sound difficult. I think what I would try doing is it should have tests that are individual. So what I would try doing is setting a binding.pry breakpoint and then try running the tests, and that should let you hit the breakpoint, hopefully. But like actually trying to debug it when it's running, I don't think there's a practical way to do that since it's asynchronous.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually the problem that we were having, because the tests that we were trying to run didn't really cover the thing that we were trying to test. So we tried to add binding.pry, testing on the live GDK environment, so not from the tests, but it didn't really hit those breakpoints. So that wasn't successful, unfortunately.
Yeah, we can make note of that, and I can ask in our backend channel, and maybe there's somebody who's more familiar with Sidekick who knows a good way to do that. I'm not aware of any way to do that.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe Leah has already asked that question on your Slack channel, so maybe he's already done that.
I'm checking the chat if anyone has any questions there, would like to ask something. All right. Brian, would you be interested, I don't know, what, maybe helping us, walking us through a review process, maybe on how to review an MR? I can get some if you want, or want to pick another issue to approach. I think we covered that pretty extensively last time, and it was a really nice video as well that we created based on your recording. So yeah, I'm just trying to think of ways, or Marco or Anshul or Mehul, what you'd be interested in,
Yeah, we can do a review. That sounds like a good topic to cover today.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So is this readable for everybody? Is the text big enough?
Yeah, I can.
I'll zoom in a little bit just to.
Oh yeah.
So there's some uncharged merge requests that we can look at. Yeah, so every day the coaches get one of these triage issues, and all of the merge requests that aren't triaged get assigned to the coaches so that they can apply labels and look for a reviewer. And I got assigned this one from Bidestel. They are a very prolific contributor. 1 second. My captions are on that other screen, so I'm like, okay. And so first thing I'm trying to do is understand what the change is. There's not much in the description, but it looks like they're trying to get rid of jQuery. This is front end, so I'm not too familiar with this one, but I can still find somebody to review it. So this looks, so first thing is I'm looking at the location, and this is authentication code. So you've got U2F, which is like a YubiKey, and web authentication, which is also like a more generic API for two-factor authentication. So this would belong to the authentication and authorization group that's already labeled. Yeah, it looks like somebody already looked at this. And they already assigned a reviewer too. Yeah, but there are, if you set up your pipeline, then you should get a comment from Danger. It looks like Pi still hasn't set it up, but we have documentation on how to do that somewhere. Danger report, I think. Yeah. But this is a code review tool. Here it is. And if you set this up, it'll suggest reviewers for you. And so usually what most people do is they look at the reviewer that was suggested by DangerBot and they use one of those. So the bot tells you how to set that up. But if you do not have it, then the way I would find a reviewer is to go to Roulette. So we have a thing called Reviewer Roulette, like a roulette wheel, and you use this to randomly select someone to review your merge request. And this is the tool that I use the most for selecting a reviewer. Now, you don't have to use this. You can, if you want to, you can just do, you can just ping the bot and do GitLab bot request review. And the bot will ping a coach and the coach will find a reviewer for you. But you're totally welcome to select a reviewer yourself too. And if you know how to do that, probably it's more efficient than making a coach find a reviewer for you. So if you use Roulette, you want to select the project up here, and we're on GitLab, but pretty much all the GitLab projects should be in here, or most of them. So you should be able to find whatever project you're working on here, like if you're working on Runner or GitLab agents in there. A lot of the projects are in there. So we have there's a bunch of different reviewer categories depending on what you change. And if you set up danger, it's able to automatically detect who needs to review the merge request based on what files you changed. And so it will show all the different roles who need to review the merge request. We don't have danger here, but I know that since it's touching front-end files, then we need to find a front-end reviewer. And it'll show all the different engineers who are able to review front-end here. And you can, if you want to, you can click spin the wheel and it'll pick somebody randomly. But what I usually like to do is I find someone who doesn't look like they're busy, like who doesn't have a lot of merge requests assigned, and then I'll pick them. So like Daniel Tian is out on parental leave, so I don't want to pick him. Yeah, a lot of the engineers on here don't have very many reviews. Like Sam Beckham looks like he has the most merge requests right now. It looks like maybe he was out of the office or something. He got a few accumulated, but you can look at like there's statistics for how many merge requests people get over time. So like Doug Stool gets like 2 a day. So what I usually like to do is I like to pick someone who doesn't get a lot of merge requests, like Jeremy Jackson here, and I like to request a review from them. Yeah, so when you find someone, you can just comment like, yeah, his status is busy. So if their status is busy, you usually don't want to assign them. It's not supposed to, it's unavailable folks paid.
Can I ask something really quickly?
Yeah, sure.
Is this available for community as well?
Yeah, I can use
Yes.
it.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. It's a public website. I added a link in the agenda, so you can click on that and find it. Yeah, I have it bookmarked right over here. So I just go back to the bookmark. Did Danger also links it?
Yeah, danger also, if you set it up on the comments that it will add to your merge request, it will add a link to this page.
Yeah, exactly.
I was confusing it with the new review roulette, which is like automatically trying to find maintainers and assign them the reviewers, which currently is not open for community Mars. They're not doing it for community Mars. Thanks. Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, this page is pretty much reviewer relay. When DangerBot does relay, it actually reads data from this website and it uses it to find a reviewer. So there's relay.json, and this has all the data that's being used to populate this page. And Danger actually reads this, and then it randomly picks someone from this big JSON list.
Also,
right. So if you once you find a reviewer, you can just copy their username. I actually added this button a few months ago. And you can go over to your merge requests and pin them and just ask like, hey, Samantha, can you please review this merge request? And then you want to assign them. I'm not totally sure.
no, we can't.
If yeah, contributors can't assign people. I think it would be nice if you could use the bot to assign somebody as a reviewer. I wonder.
I think you can. No, you can apply labels.
Yeah, I'll need to look into that, but it would be, but it would be cool if you could do like get that bot on reviewer. If we don't already have that, then I should see about adding that. But for now, you can do get that bot request review. And then that'll get you a reviewer. So, you know, since you can't assign people, do that for now. But I think it would be really great if we could make it easier for contributors to do this themselves.
Also, the roulette is also useful when DangerBot tries to do his best to pick the best reviewer. But if you, for example, in a hurry and you need a review as soon as possible, you can use the roulette to find someone that's, I don't know, if he's just starting in the morning, maybe he's has more free time and you can ping him.
All right. Okay. Do y'all want to look at anything else, or do you think that's good? Like, was that useful?
I thought that was great.
Yeah.
I didn't know about roulette, so that was really cool. And I don't know a lot about DangerBot, so I appreciate the like overview. Thanks.
Yeah. I do want to show you another merge request real quickly. 1 second. Give me a minute to find it.
Sure. In the meantime, I'm really curious from where you get the status for the on the GitLab roulette on the dashboard. Their status is, I think it's just like the status that you put on your GitLab profile. Yeah, correct. So if someone's available or not available, you know it. That's something that we always also like struggling sometimes. We're trying to assign people to reviewers MRs and we don't know their availability, and some people, yeah, so it's always like a struggle. And it's also it's different from community MRs because not all of these people review community MRs. But yeah, that's gold. Thank you, Brian, for sharing.
Yeah, so here's another merge request that I just want to show you real quickly. This is a real big one that was submitted by Jonas over at Simon. And this was he did some work to make topics, you know, on a project. You can have topic labels that kind of indicate search terms that you can use for that project. GitLab doesn't have any, which is interesting. I was sure we had some topics on those, but anyway, these are pretty much keywords that you can add on to your projects that you can search by. Like you might put your language like Ruby or Go or whatever, and then it'll let it show up on the explore page. So like here, I can do gitlab.com/explore projects topics Go. And this will show me some projects that have the Go topic. This used to be case sensitive. So if I did this with capital G, it wouldn't show me the same thing. But he changed it so that it's case insensitive now. And that's what this merge request was for. This was one of several merge requests that was used to change this. And so I ran a pipeline, and this is what the danger output looks like. So it shows all the different reviewers. So this merge request touches on several different areas. You've got backend, database, and front end. And so you need to have reviewers for each of those. And the way the review process works is you get a review from a reviewer first, and that person will give you suggestions, etc. And once the reviewer approves, then they ask a maintainer to review it. And so you need a approval from each reviewer, and you need an approval from each maintainer. And once you have all the maintainer approvals, then the last maintainer to approve the merge request will merge it. So this one had 3 different roles that needed to review it. And it also updated documentation. So we had to get a technical writer to review it too. But technical writing reviews are non-blocking, so we can merge it without technical writer approval because they can go update the documentation later. But yeah, if you look at some of the files that were changed real quick, we have some backend here. So like the topics controller, some of the models. So controllers, if you're not familiar with Rails, these are common Rails concepts. There's controllers which handle like the parameters and stuff from an HTTP request. And then there's models which interact with the database. So each model is like an object. So topic, project, these are, object-oriented things. And they each represent a table in the database, pretty much. Then views are used to, typically a controller calls a view in order to render HTML. Then we have database migrations. And these are used to make changes to the database schema. You can see he's adding a column, and then you add a text limit to that column. Yeah, so if your model depends on a database change, you probably have to have a migration there too, and that needs database review. And then you've got the documentation change. The documentation that shows up on docs.gitlab.com. Most of these, not all of them, but most of them are located in the GitLab repository. So, if you want to change this documentation page, you can do that through a markdown file in GitLab, in the GitLab project. And if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, there's a link that says edit this page. And you can see it goes to GitLab doc.admin auth LDAP index. Am I going too fast? Yeah. And we've got an API entity. This is pretty much an API response. So we're adding a new field to that API response. And that's for, similar thing to the API parameters. These are the parameters used in the request. Oh boy, a background migration. I'm not going to talk too much about this, but this is a database migration that happens in the background. So sometimes these can take like days to finish. Then the OKO GitLab.pot. This is a big, huge file that contains every single translatable string in GitLab. So every single one of these messages, it's possible to create translations for these. So pretty much every time you add a string that the user will see, it's probably going to end up in this file. And we have a whole different program where people can contribute translations for these strings. So like if you know Russian or German or like any other language, you can take these strings and add a translation in your language, and it will start showing up in GitLab when you change your language settings. But we rely on contributions for that for the most part. Then we have the tests. And there's actually not really any front end changes here, but Haml, the views, these are kind of unique in that they are considered both front end and back end. So these two files are probably what is triggering the front end review. And yeah, these are weird because they're a mix of both Ruby and HTML and CSS. So you know, this is a CSS class, and then you're able to call Ruby code from in here. And yeah, I don't understand it super well, but it's a hybrid thing. So that usually gets both backend and front end review. Yeah, so for this merge request, let me see. Yeah, there's this big, huge thread here where I started asking for reviews from everybody. So yeah, if your merge request is ready for review, it's usually a good idea to add a comment saying so, or use GitLab bot request review, because it's not always obvious if the merge request is ready or not. And you know, I picked reviewers for each of those, and then the technical writer only needs one reviewer. Most of the time we have two, but for technical writing there's one. Yeah, and so everyone kind of added their approvals in this thread, and you can see when the reviewer approves, they request a review from the maintainer. So they just kind of pass the baton. And you know, each of the, and they'll either approve it or they will leave comments and ask you to look again. And usually when they ask you to look again, you will have to request a review from the same person again after you make changes. So after you address the comments, you can just pin them and they will take another look at it. Some people like to use the ping pong paddle because you're going back and forth, so it's like you're playing ping pong. Yeah, so we got approvals from most of the maintainers pretty quickly. Front end approved, database approved, and then we were just waiting on backend. The person who got picked for backend review was out of the office, so we found somebody else, and they went back and forth a couple times, and then they merged it. So yeah, that's what the review process looks like. Most of the time, your changes ought to be small, so you might only have 1 or 2 reviewers. But this one was really big. And, you know, sometimes if you touch a bunch of different areas, you might have to have a bunch of people review it. Does anybody have questions about that?
I might have a question about the having a single merge request touching both backend and front end, because lately I discovered that that is not a really good practice, because the deployment is not really synchronous, so it could cause some problems.
Yeah, it's sometimes you kind of have to do it. Like if the front end is dependent on backend changes, but you're right that you're not really supposed to do that, because we have a thing called, it's in the documentation somewhere, but there is, I think, multi-node configurations, what it's called. Zero downtime upgrades, this is what I'm looking for. Yeah, but you can, this is like a special upgrade process where if your GitLab instance is composed of multiple nodes, like you have multiple servers that make up GitLab, you can update, you can use this update process to upgrade those servers one at a time without taking GitLab down. And the thing about this is you might have servers with different versions running at the same time. And if the front end expects, so the front end and the back end might not be on the same version when you do this, because the front end, you know, sends requests to the back end, it can hit any of these servers. And so you could be talking to 2 different versions of GitLab at the same time on the front end. So we actually have a backwards compatibility guidelines. Yeah, this documentation tells you what you need to consider with that kind of stuff when modifying JavaScript. Is it okay when a browser has a new JavaScript code, but Rails is running the previous monthly release on the REST API, the GraphQL API, or internal APIs in a controller? So this page gives you kind of questions that you can ask to determine if it's okay to do that. So if you're updating the front end and back end at the same time, if your front end changes will still work without the back end changes, then it's okay.
Yeah. Well,
but
you
yeah,
can also, you can even set up the front end change to make sure that it still works with the old backend to keep it all in one merge request.
Right. Yeah, but you could totally split those into separate merge requests too.
Oh, I do that because I don't want to make a merge request and then being asked to split it up. Can be a nightmare. So I prefer not to do that.
Right. I know what you mean. Yeah, it's a judgment call. So there's not really, you can't really always, there's not really a guideline that you can follow to always arrive at the same answer. You have to, make a judgment call on it.
Yeah, the sad big quotes there thing that I discovered when we talk about this is that database change could take even 3 milestones to get deployed, because maybe if you have to change a column or drop a column on a table, and you have to make sure that everything is updated, and that could be taken care of on 3 milestones, so 3 months.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you have a question for me? I kind of wasn't paying attention.
Oh, no. So it was just a consideration.
Okay. Yeah.
Thanks. Are there any questions for Brian? We're pretty much on time, so let me check here. Let me check the chat if there is any questions from Mehul or Anshul, Fatima, Marco, myself. All right. Cool. In that case, I will thank again Brian for one more time. Next time,
You're welcome.
if we meet,
Glad to help out.
pleasure. Pleasure having you, and thank you so much for being here. Thank you all for joining. Again, if you happen to run out of CI/CD minutes in the next days, there is a public now issue into the agenda. Feel free to add a comment there with a screenshot of your usage. We're trying to address that right now. Again, we are wrapping up the hackathon by the end of this week. Maybe we're gonna give an extension for reviewing all the open MRs, because we have a few MRs that had to be like broken down or they had to be reworked. So yeah, we'll try to do this, evaluate the situation and see by the end of the week. And yeah, I'll see you all again next week with another topic, hopefully another GitLab team member. Not that we don't love seeing you, Brian. We do. We're trying to engage more GitLab team members, more maintainers. So yeah, until then, be safe, happy, healthy, and I'll see you all online.
Okay. Bye.
GitLab day, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks.